All right, guys, so now it is Friday night for me, and again, I don't know when you guys will be seeing these. Hopefully not too long, but definitely still a ways out. But I did get the motor all painted up, which I'm pretty sure I showed you guys that in the last video. But I did notice when I was cleaning it up, and you can still kind of see some like residue and some grease along the cover here, right there and right in there. I did clean it up a good bit, and right in there. So considering that it goes from all the way up here all the way down, I was like, okay, well, that's a bit concerning. You can almost see a little bit over here too. So I was like, that's definitely concerning to see. So maybe I should address that and get it fixed. And what really concerned me is I don't want to try and replace that later on. So I did the right thing, and I got a new one right here. It's a Dorman one, and I'm just gonna get it replaced now. So it's gonna have a new rear main, which when you do these, you don't want to just do the seal. You do the whole cover, the gasket, and the seal. So all three, just do it all, because they say that they don't seal up again. So you just replace it all in a kit, and that's just the right way to do it. I don't even know if you can buy it separate, but it's gonna have a new rear main seal. It's got a new crank seal in the cover. New cam gear, new timing chain slider. I reused the timing chain just because everything looked so nice on it. I could have replaced it, but I didn't. So hopefully that's all good there. But all that, obviously new head gaskets, again, new valve cover gaskets, new intake gaskets. So, new water pump gaskets. Everything's been resealed. So basically this thing's going to be all rebuilt and good to go. Even though I never did take the bottom end apart. You guys saw how clean it was. And you guys can see right there, it says 5.3 liter. So this thing's definitely gonna be a solid unit once it's done. Especially with that new transmission over there, it's gonna look good. And then, just gotta worry about everything else later. But honestly, I might look for a different rear end. So honestly, if that one goes out, then I'll just have to find a different one and find one with disc brakes instead of dumb drums. But I'm gonna get this plate switched out and start putting the heads together, so the rods and rocker arms. But let's get this off. All right, guys, so I got that cover all pulled off now, and this is what it looks like. You can see my Texas Speed and Performance camshaft right there. You know the deal. It's legit. So now time to get the new cover on and out with the old cover. And they also give you bolts in the kit too, which is nice. So hopefully these are as good as GM's bolts right there. So I'm gonna get this all put back together now. All right, guys, and just like that, I got the new all installed on there. And I did the right thing and made sure to grease or put a little bit of oil on that seal, just so it slipped over the crankshaft end there just fine. And you can see that it's a Dorman one. And now we're on to the next part. So I guess I'm gonna start putting the heads back together. Actually, before I do anything else to the motor, I'm actually gonna come over here and try and get my headers all painted up. As you can see, I got the other one prepped now. So I'm gonna hopefully get those all painted up. And then that way, by the time my motor's, to the point where I'd even be able to put them on, they should be dry. So I'm gonna do that now. All right, guys, so I actually didn't get to painting the headers quite yet. But I went ahead and started putting the motor back together. So I got this whole side all, back together, and it's all just loose now. The bolts are just finger tight. But you know, the tray is on, the push rods are in, the rocker arms are in. And what I did is I just dipped each end of the push rod in oil and set it in there. And now obviously I still gotta tighten the bolts down and well, put my crank pulley on so I can spin the motor over. And then when there's no pressure on the rockers, then you want to torque them down to 22 foot-pounds. But you know, I still have this side to put in, bank 2. As you can see, I did the right thing and labeled it all, so just going off that and keeping everything in order, just because I mean that's how it was wearing, and they're kind of like paired together. But I mean, probably won't, you know, affect it too bad if you didn't keep it in order, but I wasn't taking any chances, so I just did that. And yeah, so just gotta finish up this side and then torque them down all the 22, and then I can put the valve covers on, and then the motor will be fully sealed up, especially once the crank pulley's on. And then I do gotta put a few sensors on and stuff, and put the whole front end back on, but I'll worry about that later. But for now, I'm gonna try and figure out how I'm gonna hang up my headers and get them painted, because then I can continue on the motor and then, you know, wait for them to dry, and who knows, maybe they'll be dry by the time I'm done. And I'm also hoping to still be able to paint all my blue stuff tonight, but it's probably gonna be really late by the time I finish my motor, so we'll just have to see how I'm feeling by then, because I might just be painting that tomorrow, and then just putting lines in and finishing up all sorts of other stuff. But I really do gotta get that stuff painted, because I got that adapter plate that bolts my transmission to the cross member, which I don't have it in yet, but the transmission mount holds it off that adapter plate, and that plate still needs to get painted. And then my brakes still all need to be painted, the rotors and calipers. So I can't really hook up my lines until then. And then, I mean, I could do the rear diff cover and stuff, but then, you know, can't put the motor and tranny in until that one plate is done. And then, yeah, just all sorts of stuff like that. So, I mean, once all that stuff's painted, then I'll be really looking good. And I also got my fenders today. They're actually in boxes outside still. I never brought them in, just because I figured I really want to paint here like really soon and get all that stuff done. So, you know, I don't want them to be in the way. But I figured if I'm able to, I should set up my fenders so I can paint the back of them and get at least the back side of the fenders all good to go. So then I can put everything on the, well, paint underneath the cab and the firewall, and then when I put the cab on, I can bolt the fenders up and then just paint everything from the outside and have the whole engine bay done and underneath all done. So I'm just painting the outside and maybe inside the fenders, but we'll see how much of the fender I can actually paint. I could probably just set it down on the face and paint a lot of it. I also got brand new fender liners too, because my old ones were cut up and stuff. I'm still gonna have to cut up the new ones, but figured might as well just get a fresh start and go from there. So that's all good. So I'm gonna get my headers painted and then continue putting the motor back together. All right, guys, so I actually went ahead and got my headers all painted up, and they're more coppery orange than I was expecting, but I'm sure that they'll still look good on the truck. At least I'm hoping so. I kind of wish that they were a little darker, or even like gold or something, but it's fine. And then I went ahead and got all my rocker arms torqued down and good to go. So I think I'm just gonna put a little bit of oil on them and then put the valve covers on, and then the valve train will be good to go. And then it's just putting the front together, and then spark plugs and the sensors and brackets, and then the intake, and then the headers, and then the motor will be done. So I just gotta get everything put back on the motor and then move on to, I guess, the fuel tank, but just trying to get the motor done tonight. All right, guys, So I actually ended up repainting my valve covers just because that duplicolor white engine paint right there did not turn out that good. So obviously it's been like sitting for a while or something. So I just sprayed it with the same kind of stuff I used on my frame, which was just a rattle can version. And that covered it up actually really nicely. I'm sure it's still really wet, but they look so much better. So I'm glad I resprayed them and actually made them look good, because that other color was already looking yellowish and just was so thin. Like, I don't know, it just looked so bad. I think I showed you guys, but yeah, it just looked so bad. So for the motor, you know, I can't put the valve covers on yet because they still got dry. So I got the spark plugs in, and the headers are actually probably dry, which I don't know. They do kind of look cool, but this was literally grill paint. So yeah, I don't know. But I wanted to make sure that it wouldn't, you know, it was in the heat range so it wouldn't burn off. So I don't know, it's gonna look a little goofy, but it'll look pretty good. Hopefully once they get hot, it'll darken a little bit, I'm hoping. So yeah, but for the motor here, so I did that, and then I was gonna put the flywheel on, and as you guys can see, you know, the 6 bolts, and then this one's got a little like alignment pin for the center here that aligns to the crank, and you take it off. I marked how it was before, and you can see it was way up there. So, you know, I feel like GM would have definitely aligned it. And, you know, this motor's way too clean. So, like, they obviously swapped the motor, reclocked the flywheel, not like it matters, but just slapped it on there. And then, you know, bolted up the old transmission. That was probably still working all right at the time, but it wasn't great. And, yeah, so I'm just gonna line it up like that, like how it probably should be, and get it tightened down. And then I'm gonna start working on the front, like put the water pump on, try and get the AC condenser on, the alternator bracket with the power steering, that's right there. And get the alternator on, and belt tensioner, and get the belts on the front. So get the whole front together, and then I just gotta wait for the valve covers, slap the valve covers on. Then I can put my coil packs on, and then I'm not gonna put my headers on the motor like until I'm ready to set it in, so I can tell the transmission's bolted up to it. But for the picture, I gotta at least set them on there. So that'll definitely be coming up, but I might wait until like it's like fully done with the intake on it and stuff, and all that. But we are definitely on the right path to getting her done, which is awesome because I really want to get it done and get it put back in. So we keep on working away at this thing.